right. Looks good. Good people. Anita, M.R. Mars Pluto, Hemorrhoid Henry, my moderator, Dave from Stone Mountain, Truth Can't Be Silenced, Fred Lexo Lee Cox, DKZ, acronym, Karen Mitchell, Rosalind Noax, Sharon Howard, Butterfly, Ladita, David Massell, Frederick Murphy, Donnie Filkin, a dingo, and share this on your social media sites, please, on your profiles, whatever, and Facebook people in the house, Helen Ford, Amanda, Eli, Rose Wade, the whole crew. That's Billy Howe, Steve Woodbrat, Patricia Gardner, Kerry Williams, Amanda, Janice, Chris, George, Deanna, Michael, Craig, George, Lisa, what up? I think did that work? Oh, it did work, I'm sorry. So got so many screens going. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show. It is Thursday. It's the day before Freedom Friday. Just a reminder, tomorrow I need you on deck to call in because it's your show tomorrow. Tonight's my show, but Fridays are your show because you call in and you get to voice your opinion and you get to take the mic. Wow, what a day, what a day. Let's do some spring cleaning or some house cleaning real quick. My guest Monday. I'm very excited about it. My guest Monday will be Max Blumenthal. Now, you may know Max. He's an award-winning journalist and an author. He'll be here to discuss his new book. His new book, The Management of Savagery, How America's National Security State Fueled the Rise of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Donald Trump. So I look forward to that. I hope you will join me 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday for a rekindling of No Sellouts with Max Blumenthal. So yeah, we bring back stuff that worked. And we're going to bring that back. So for tonight, I got a couple of stories that I think are amazingly important for us to take a look at. Tulsi Gabbard's tonight. She's on the menu for her comments. I got a clip from Tulsi Gabbard I want to share with you. I got a clip from Joe Biden, a couple clips of Joe Biden, and I think Joe Biden, he ain't even trying. No, Joe Biden, he need to be in his house hiding. So we're going to talk about Joe Biden. What else do we have? We have Bernie Sanders. He weighs in on Iran. For whatever reason, The View. The View gives you their views. We're going to talk about that. They talk about Elizabeth Warren. And it may surprise you somewhat. What else do we have? But something here about, I don't know why I have Beto or Beto. Is it Beto or Beto? I think it's Beto, right? I'm just going to call him Francis. Is that okay? Can I just call him Francis? Well, I got to call him by his name. Am I being politically incorrect? All right, so let's get the party cracking, guys. Two more things. One is you can now become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack right on Facebook. So you can do that today. If you're interested in joining the Wolfpack, I'll tell you what you get. You get not only a bunch of camaraderie from everyone who's a part of the Tim Black Wolfpack already, but you actually are a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. And what that will mean is, beyond just the community aspect, there's a lot of content, a lot of things I try to give my Patreon people that I don't give to the general public. So there's going to be a lot more of that going forward into 2020, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff I want to do that I want to give exclusively to my Patreons. And so become a member. Do it right on my Facebook page. You click the button that says support. Be a supporter, become a supporter, and it'll walk you through it. And as always, guys, thank you so much to everybody who's already a part of the Tim Black community, the Wolfpack community, the Truth Bomb activists. community, all of you guys who work with us, who put your time and energy and a couple dollars to it to help make this show possible. And the other thing is, go to justinform.com and become a member of a website that doesn't still track your data. It's very important not to be hoodwinked by social media sites that do all this nefarious stuff behind the scenes. So with that, guys, I'd like to move into our first story. Oh, I know what. Let's break the ice tonight with something you may not have heard. Or maybe you did hear it. Okay, so, I was just saying, I was talking to a friend of mine last night about the political stuff that's going on, and that this person's not really into politics. And I was telling them just how pissed off I was because it just didn't seem like we had enough people running for the Democratic nomination. Yeah, I just wasn't feeling like we had enough people in it. Why are people so gun shy about getting in this race? It's ridiculous, man. We don't have people that want to run. I thought everybody wanted to be president. Like, where are my people? We only got 21, 22, 23, 24 people are now in this race. That's way too many people to be in a race for one job. Half y'all, more than half, 20 of y'all know y'all just running to be running. Just out there, just running, just running. Where you going? Nowhere. You trying to lose weight? Nope. Trying to stay healthy? Nope. Why are you running? I don't know, just running. Just out here doing a Forrest Gump. All in the way, clogging up the middle. Now, we know there's a real reason why they're running, don't we? To stop Bernie Sanders from winning. And I guess I'm being a little bit dramatic there. It's not just for Bernie. It's also to stop Tulsi Gabbard from winning. Yeah, they got two. Both, they want to stop both of them. Make no mistake about it. All right, so I woke up this morning and I'm thinking, okay, gosh, I wish more people would run because, hey, we need more people in this race. And I was very surprised and very happy to hear that. I'm joking. Let me stop joking because people will write me and they'll think I'm being serious. Like, they don't know my humor. They just, Tim, what are you talking about? You grape nuthead bastard. Raisin nuthead, whopperhead bastard. I thought you were a supporter of Bernie. How dare you do this to Bernie? They actually sound like that too. It's like, you need to go get your throat checked out, sounding like that. So anyway, I woke up this morning and found out that Mayor Bill de Blasio from New York City was running. Yeah, he's one of the most unpopular mayors in the country, but he's running anyway because, he got a black wife. So he's like, hey, I got a black wife, y'all. I know like 10 kids died, in our child protective services where I said I was going to fix it. 10 babies died in it. And I got really no explanation for it. But remember, y'all, my wife is black. Is it working? Is it working? Hold on. Let me up the ante a little bit. I have a black son. Is it working? Is it working? No? I got a black daughter. Is it work? I'm tall. I can play basketball. Anyway, yeah, so he's in the race for a waste of time, is what he's in it for. And there's a number of things wrong with Bill de Blasio's record as the New York City mayor. One of them is he's just not very likable. He's not very gifted in politicking. The other is how he's been running New York City. A lot of people complain about the homeless issue. Like they threw away almost $1 million and there's more homeless people on the street than there were before. Same thing with housing, like low-income housing has been a problem in New York. So there's a lot of complaints. And look, I know when you're a mayor, there's a lot going on. If you're the mayor of New York City, as opposed to being the mayor, like say something small like South Bend, Indiana, where hardly only 3 people live there. I'm joking, it's good people, I'm sure. There were good people on both sides. But what I'm saying is, but still, De Blasio, when you are in charge, the buck stops with you. And not to mention, why does this guy block traffic every day to go to the gym? Like, I know mayors don't make that much money, but you make enough money to put a treadmill in your house. Because you ain't got a load. You know what I mean? You know how much, like, they got to, like, to do the Secret Service or whatever, and the vans, the SUVs, and block off roads just for his ass to go to the gym like a regular person. Hey, Bill, if you want to be a regular person, all you got to do is keep doing the job you're doing as mayor, and you'll be a regular person soon enough. They're going to vote you right on out of there. Anyway, Bill de Blasio, he announced he's running for mayor, and it's not that big a deal. Word on the street is New Yorkers aren't even going to vote for him, so Amy Klobuchar, you're safe. Your number 22 slot is safe. I'm not 22, you bastard. Get me a fork, fatty. All right, so now, Amy Klobuchar, they said she was really mean to people that work for her. So that's what that was about. Anyway, I got a clip. It's real quick. Me joking about Bill de Blasio, but also dropping some truth about Bill de Blasio announcing his run for presidency. Harbor with the homeless, harbor with kids, protective services. The word on the street is New Yorkers won't even vote for Bill de Blasio, threw his name in the hat.
All right, we have breaking news. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio officially joining the race for president.
De Blasio is the 24th candidate and third mayor to enter the race for the Democratic nomination.
That's a lot of people, y'all. So look, I'm not going to get too far into Bill de Blasio's record. We know he's been horrible with schools, horrible with the homeless, horrible with kids, protective services. The word on the street is New Yorkers won't even vote for Bill de Blasio. Guy's garbage, right? So that's not what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is the glaring fact there are 24 people running for the Democratic nomination. If you ever needed evidence, the 2016 Democratic primary was rigged. Just look at the number of people that are running now. 24 people want to be president. Only 4 ran last time. That's because Hillary and Bill Clinton had the DNC fixed. Just do the math. Yeah. And also, you can look at it the other way as well, where, well, we got 24 people running. I wonder where those people came from. You know, either way, there's a reason why there's so many people running this time and not so many people running last time. Who does it benefit to run 24 people? You know why, right? Yeah, stop Bernie and stop Tulsi Gabbard. But if that sounds too tinfoil hattish, just look at the reason why only 4 or 5 people ran last time. Why? Obama was leaving. He was gone. He couldn't be president no more, no matter how much the Obama loyalists wanted him to be. All the people who ignored, all the poor people who still got the shaft under Obama. All the wars we were in, all the things, all the promises left unkept. But still, only, 5 people started running? I said 4, but I think it was 5. If you count that guy, Lincoln Chafee. I really don't count him. He's not really, he's like the bottom 5 or that are running now. Like, why even learn these people's names? Who cares? But you get my point. So now, like, okay, so you mean to honestly tell me that in 2016, only 5 people wanted to be president? And in 2020, 25 people want to be president? Come on, man. Come on, buddy. That don't even make sense. I mean, either they got good food that they're serving in there or they don't. You know some good restaurants, don't you? You know, the telltale of a good restaurant is you go, it's crowded. You don't go one day, there's only 5 people in the whole restaurant and go, hey, it's a great restaurant. Then come back, there's 25 people in the restaurant. Hey, well, they must have got a new chef. They didn't get a new chef. It's the same old DNC, same old DCCC, just different rules. It's not a new memo. The new memo said, run. Run. Stop Bernie Sanders, stop Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to stop the money faucet of the military-industrial complex, especially that Tulsi Gabbard. Trying to save lives. Hell is wrong with her? What kind of patriot is she? trying to stop wars. Think she is running here trying to save life and preserve life. It's ridiculous. Oh, you should hear him on the ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. They just sound like total, like murderers is what they sound like. So why do you want to be with people to stop wars? I don't understand. What kind of craziness is driving you to want to prevent war? Only in a world this crazy, in a country this backwards, this paid off, people so brains just infected with lies, would that even make sense? All right, I could stay on that for a while, but we'll be back to Tulsi Gabbard on another topic. Yeah, let's switch gears now. Let's switch gears. You guys ready? Did you share it on social media? Let me tweet something now. I'm gonna tweet something now. Here we go. I'm gonna send a tweet out there because some of you guys didn't share that you're here. What's wrong? You don't want people to know you watched the Black Man Show? You don't want them to know you watched Tim Black Show? Huh? But if you was watching Sam Cedar's show, you tell people. Because Sam Cedar is respectable. Liar, pants on fire. Sam Cedar. I like picking with Sam Cedar, man. Let's jump to, hey, I'm wondering what I have under this button. Who that is? Oh, I labeled it Beto, but it's Biden. Oh, it's switched. It is Biden. Check this out, guys. So, check this out. Let me set this up for you. Everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, people are talking about Joe Biden. They're talking about Joe Biden as if he actually wants to become president. I don't think Joe Biden wants to become president. That's right. I'm different. I don't have to go with the crowd. I don't buy into the groupthink. I don't think Joe Biden really wants to be president. I think Joe Biden owes somebody some money. Joe Biden is in his late 70s. He wants to chill out. He's not driven with some force in him that says, hey, let me help heal the world. Nah, he's not like a Bernie Sanders or Mike Gravel. Joe Biden is a corporate tool, always has been. He's always been about that paycheck, that paper. Joe Biden has been about donors and donations and collecting money, and that's it. You know, that's it. That's all he's been about. So don't miss me with the whole idea that he's really in this for some moral reasons. Oh, well, I want to make the world better and whatever. So meanwhile, while they've been selling this, they've been also trying to sell us on these polls to show that Joe Biden, according to them, is doing so great. And everybody's going, yeah, Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe Biden. Like a bunch of zombies, brain dead behind their eyes, just, Joe Biden. Who would you vote for? Joe Biden. What time is it? Joe Biden. What's your wife's name? Joe Biden. People are just zombified, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you believe the polls, that's the way it is. It's like 50% of people in like Nantucket are going, Joe Biden all day. That's who they, you know. And I don't believe the polls, man. I think it's a bunch of crap. And I also believe the more that Joe Biden's out there, not only will he gaff it up, but I think people are going to lose interest with Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden, like, remember I used to criticize Kamala Harris? I'd say she wasn't good at answering questions, because she isn't a lot of times, though she took some time off and got better. Joe Biden's really not doing a good job of answering questions. Yeah, like the questions that people are asking him, his responses have nothing to do with what they ask him. Like, he talking about something totally different. I got a couple clips I want to share with you where Joe Biden does just that. He loses me. Check it out.
It's not, I'm not, but here's the deal.
You say it calls for some sort of universal health care or something like Medicare for all from some of the other people running the Democratic primary.
I think they're well intended.
What do you say to calls for some sort of universal health care or something like Medicare for all from some of the other people running in the Democratic primary?
I think they're well intended. I think they mean it, and it's not. I'm not. But here's the deal. Right now, you have this overwhelming number of employers who are paying into the health care plan. Why let them off the hook? All of a sudden, they don't have to pay anything. What happens then to this whole thing about profit and the rest? I mean, it should be part of the compensation if you have it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just heard was the world's worst rebuttal to Medicare for all. The world's worst response or counter response to Medicare for all. Why shouldn't it work? I mean, there are actual little dogs, like my pet Brutus, my rescue dog. He makes a better argument for why Medicare for all wouldn't work, and he can't talk. Joe Biden's way, like, the road is here. Joe Biden, you know those stutter things on the road, on the side of the road? Joe Biden's way, he missed those. He's not on the road, he's not on the, he in the woods, dodging trees. He way off the road. You know, he's not even in the right run. He said, he wants with a straight face, well, why Medicare for all isn't a good thing. The progressives want it, they're pushing it, why isn't it good? He brings up, well, employers should have to pay. They should have to pay. Why would we want to not make employers pay for health care? Like, why would you want them to pay for it, Joe? What's the good in that? Why would you? First of all, people want like to change jobs. How many people know somebody who's in a job because they have to keep their health care? I know a lot of somebodies who are in jobs because they had to keep their health care. Right? People say, Tim Black, you should have been doing this a long time ago. Well, I started 8 years ago part-time because I had to keep my health care. If I didn't have to keep health care, I could have started doing independent media 10 years earlier. You know, because I could chase my dreams. I had a family. I had to keep health care, just like a lot of other Americans. The other thing is, the ability for people to move jobs, change jobs, and God forbid you lose a job. Oh my God, God forbid you lose a job. You know, you can still afford to, go to the doctor. Yeah, and God forbid you be able to have a checkup. These things would be accessible to you because it wouldn't be dependent on your employer. And what about all the employers who don't provide sufficient amounts of coverage? Not everybody works for a huge company that has great benefits. And maybe, just maybe, if employers didn't have to carry the cost of medical coverage and insurance for employees, they could hire more people. We all know that that's a major expense for any company. In fact, a lot of small businesses fail because they can't staff up, because if they staff up, they have to provide health care and they can't afford it. Meanwhile, they need to staff up because that's the only way they can be competitive. So Joe Biden's answer is just horrible and is wrong on so many levels. It's like he didn't even sit down and think about it. It's like he didn't even state, maybe I should think, what if they asked me about Medicare for all? Oh, what's that, a squirrel? Hey, squirrel, come here, squirrel. You little squirrel. I'll come back to that Medicare for all stuff. Oh, what's on Netflix? He totally don't care about Medicare for all at all. So anyway, at least that's how it appears. But that's not it. That's not even the worst one. I think this one's a little worse because he totally contradicts himself. Here goes clip number 2.
What do you say to calls for some sort of universal health care or something like Medicare for all from some of the other people?
This is a marathon, this race. A lot can happen. But the one thing that I know is that I don't yield anybody on my liberal credentials, whether it's on women's issues, on on LGBT issues, on speech, on all those issues. I have a record to go back and look at it, whether you use the traditional test, whether it's the ACLU or all these other means. And so, the fact is that I think that there is and it's useful. There are very loud voices on the very new progressive side of the agenda. And I think it's useful. I think they're good, they're smart people, and they should be able to be making their case. But the idea that somehow the Democratic Party is gone so far to the left that it is not recognized by most Democrats who consider themselves liberal is not factually what's happened.
All right. Did you understand what he said at all? Be honest. Do you understand the point he's trying to make? I mean, really. He talked for about, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I don't know how long that was. God makes no sense at all. You want that guy to be your president? No, you don't want that guy to be your president. You don't want that guy deciding paper or plastic. I don't even know if they still give out paper and plastic, but you know. Joe Biden, this guy has lost it. I'm trying to tell you. The only thing I got from this clip was that the guy who said, I'm more progressive. I'm progressive. Like Nancy Pelosi. I'm progressive. He just basically said he don't give a damn about being progressive. He could care less about being progressive. His name is Joe Biden. He could care less. He didn't care where the energy in the party's at. He didn't care what's happening in the streets. He didn't care where the buzz is, where the electric is. He don't care about getting out the vote. No, Joe Biden said, go screw yourself, progressive people. With these radical ideas like health care for everybody, $15 minimum wage, free community college, tuition-free community college. Ending wars, Why would you want to end wars, man? Joe Biden is a quintessential old Republican. He's a Republican. He is the old version of Democrats who were actually Republicans who somehow lost their way. Like, he should have been going in the other dressing room the whole time. Like, why is he even... And always remember, no matter how horrible Joe Biden is, and he is really horrible, remember, Barack Obama chose him. Yeah, that's right. One of my goals in 2020 is to wake up every black voter. Every black voter, particularly these older voters who I keep hearing about, who keep going, I like Joe Biden. You don't like Joe Biden. You just know Joe Biden. Let's keep it real. You don't like him. What do you like about him? There's nothing to like. You know him. And you don't know him as well as you think you know him. Like, we all know people. And we're like, I know him. I'm comfortable with him. But if you find out some bad stuff about him, like, I don't know, you slept with your wife, you might change your mind. Oh, I don't know, he stole your money, broke in your house when you was at work. Yeah, you might not like him. Or maybe he pushed your kids down a flight of steps, said it was a ghost. Ooh. So don't, just because you know someone doesn't mean you like them once you really get to know them. Okay? That's what Joe Biden is. So one of my goals is to wake you guys up, because I'm tired of looking at these polls. They keep on lying. And I don't believe the polls, but I'm saying I don't even like the idea. Every time I turn around, they say, older black people like Joe Biden. Like, nobody else likes the guy. Just older black people keeping him in the running because they're more scared of Trump. Listen, Trump may be a liar, but at least he says, like, he makes sense in a lying way when he talks. Joe Biden, he don't even know what he's talking about. He got so much BS in his comments and his responses, you don't even know what he's lying about. It's like, he goes like, is this a thriller or a love story? Oh, science fiction, okay. Oh, a musical. Okay. Documentary? What is this I'm watching? Man, give me the remote, baby. Give me the remote. That's Joe Biden. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, this guy is horrible. He's the worst. Look, there are 24 candidates officially in this contest as of earlier today at 2 or 1 p.m. or so, whatever. Because somebody could have joined by now. It's been a couple of hours. Got to keep it real. Joe Biden is right up there with the bottom of the, he's like 23rd, in my opinion. And I haven't even heard everybody else's spiel. But if they could put together a sentence that makes sense, they should be ahead of Joe Biden in the polls. If the polls were legit. If people heard him. If people actually heard him talk. And I've seen the rallies, people like they nodding off, people standing there looking at each other like, baby, what's he? Is he talking to us? He's talking to the birds. Who are you talking to? All right. Next story, guys. Next story. Tulsi Gabbard, she put out a video I think is incredible. One of the things about Tulsi Gabbard is making her campaign so attractive is not just her stances, but the way that her team and her put together video content and commercials on a small budget, but it's so quality. And it's not because it's a bunch of special effects and great people running around in it. You know, it's no Samuel L. Jackson making cameos or Robert De Niro peeking in. But what it has substance. And more than anything else, hard truth. Hard, unrelenting, unvarnished truth. That's what's dropped. So truth bombs are dropped by Tulsi Gabbard in this latest campaign commercial. Check it out.
President Trump promised us during his campaign to get the United States out of stupid wars.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. We will stop racing to topple foreign regimes that we know nothing about.
But he's on the brink of launching a very stupid and costly war with Iran. We have to stop President Trump from starting a war with Iran. The president is listening to his national security advisor, John Bolton, and other war hawks in his administration who have championed the war with Iraq in the past and who've been pushing for war with Iran for years.
Our goal should be regime change in Iran.
There is a viable opposition to the rule of the Ayatollahs. The only solution is to change the regime itself.
Bolton and others lied to us about the war in Iraq. They said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and that he was going to give them to al-Qaeda. Now, that war was devastating. Over 4,000 of my brothers and sisters in uniform were killed. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians killed. Trillions of our taxpayer dollars wasted. And al-Qaeda and ISIS were strengthened. But to this day, John Bolton says that that disastrous war in Iraq was the right decision.
I don't think there's any question that the decision to overthrow Saddam Hussein was the correct decision.
So now we're being lied to again, as Bolton and Trump push us closer and closer to a war with Iran that would prove far more costly and devastating than anything we experienced in Iraq. It would result in far more American troops being killed and injured, cause great suffering for the Iranian people and others in the region. It would exacerbate the refugee crisis in Europe and risk direct U.S. conflict with Russia, conflict that could easily lead to nuclear war. So join me in sending a strong message to Donald Trump. The U.S. must not go to war with Iran.
Love it. All right, I love that commercial, and kudos to her team, Team Tulsi, doing a very good job of getting the word out. What I love most about it is it uses Donald Trump's own words against him. Yeah, it's not a bunch of rhetoric and throwing stuff against the wall and see what can be more punishing. Unlike, I mean, Joe Biden, his little campaign video launched this campaign with the Charlotte thing, which is old news. I want to hear what you have to say about what's going on currently, sir. The Charlottesville was years ago. Though tragic, though a horrific moment in our history, it is in our history. We're talking about what's happening now. Well, we all know Joe Biden couldn't make a video like this because Joe Biden will support any engagement we go into, as has been in his past. Joe Biden is from those exact crop of people like John Bolton who favor war. So anyway, Donald Trump, he ran on ending these wars. He ran on redirecting our focus on America and away from costly wars, regime change wars. How many people remember that? I don't think you do. I don't think all of us do, but some of us do. And see, this is another reason why I support, as I stated before, people going on Fox News to try to talk to people who watch Fox News. Because not everybody who voted for Donald Trump is crazy. Just like not everybody who voted for Nancy Pelosi is crazy. You might think they are, but they aren't. My point is, there are people who believe that Donald Trump would be an outsider and he would do what he said he was going to do. What's most compelling about this video and about Tulsi's stances on Iran is that, well, there's no real reason why they say they need to go into Iran.
I didn't get that.
I said there's no real reason why they say they need to go into Iran. They just want to do it because they think they can do it. That's the thing, guys. So Tulsi Gabbard is absolutely right. I mean, ever since, what was it, Operation Persian Gulf, the Desert Storm, when they went in and Iraq and Iran split off, and then you get this situation. And back then, America was funding Iraq and Saddam Hussein. See, that's the kicker to all of this. I look forward to an opportunity to talk to Tulsi Gabbard about her stance on Iran. But until then, definitely. Max Blumenthal, whose book will be coming on our show, as I stated in the beginning of this. Max Blumenthal wrote an excellent book. It's a lot of great reviews for it. He'll be on the show Monday, and hopefully he'll be able to break down the situation in Iran. But even with my cursory knowledge, I'm aware the main focus is oil, it is money, it is resources. So once again, Tulsi Gabbard's team did a great job of sending home that message. Now, Bernie Sanders also talked about Iran and the need to avoid war there. Let's check that out.
Going into Iran. What's more is 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator, good to see you again. You are quite worried, more worried than the Pentagon says you should be, about troops, American troops going into Iran. What's your concern?
Ali, I believe that if we go into Iran, we will destabilize the entire region, and we will be in war for decade after decade, which will cost us thousands of lives for our troops, as well as God knows what happens in terms of how many people die in the region. It is almost impossible to imagine that after the horror of the war in Iraq, when we were lied to by the Bush administration, and one of the leading architects of that war, by the way, was this very same John Bolton, who remains one of the few people in the world who actually thinks today that the war in Iraq was a good idea, that we would once again go to war in that region. So what I am working hard on is to continue the work that I and some conservative Republicans did, and that is to remind Congress and to remind the President that it is the U.S. Congress under our Constitution, not the President, who decides when we go to war. So we're looking now to get 51 senators and a majority in the House to say to this President, you are not going to war in Iran or any place else without congressional authority, and we ain't going to give you that authority.
But it was Congress that ultimately agreed to the Iran deal, and the goal there was to try and get Iran back into the international community and economically engaged, so that it would think that it was more valuable to stay economically engaged with the world than to saber rattle and misbehave in the region. What do you say to people who say this is preventative, this is a worst case scenario in case Iran attacks American soldiers, American troops, or uses its proxies to do so?
First of all, Ali, you will remember how we got into the Vietnam War through the Gulf of Tonkin resolution, and it turns out that the so-called attack in the Gulf of Tonkin did not actually take place. It was based on a series of lies. But what worries me is that the architect of the effort now to get us into a war in Iran is the guy who was the architect to getting us into the war in Iraq, and that is John Bolton. So, I worry about provocations on the part of the United States against Iran, and I worry very much that this thing could flare up. So I think, again, that a war in Iran would be an absolute disaster, never-ending war, huge amounts of money, loss of lives, and what the Congress has got to do is have a serious discussion about how we deal with that region. Now, I, for the life of me, have never understood why it was that the United States determined that Saudi Arabia, which is a despotic, murderous, undemocratic regime, is our great friend. And Iran is all that terrible. Obviously, we have many, many concerns about Iran. But let me tell you, Iraq is not, one of the great humanitarian regimes on this planet. The function of the United States, the most powerful nation on earth now, and our president, should be to bring Iran, to bring Saudi Arabia and Iran into a room together and to begin serious negotiations about how we can calm the tensions in that region, not inflame them, not threaten to go to war.
Yeah, that's what you would think should be a president's job, not to take us to war. But there's so much money to be made by going to war. That's why they want to do it. That's why they're reluctant to get into that room. In fact, they criticize people like Tulsi Gabbard for even wanting to have conversations that do not lead to war. Only time that they're even respectful to Donald Trump, even want to give him the time of day, is when he is doing what? Drone attacks. Then Brian Williams will do a serenade to the bombs. And this all brings up a question. Something I was thinking as I was watching this segment earlier, watching that particular clip from Bernie, and Tulsi's earlier as well. I was thinking, I wonder if Donald Trump really had intentions to bring the troops home. I wonder if Donald Trump was being sincere when he said he wanted to end these wars. I really have no way of knowing it, right? Maybe it's the forces, the powers that be, that sort of change your mind about what you want to do once you get in the office. I mean, I know it's very easy to say, Donald Trump just lied to everybody. He made it up. He just said that to get elected. It's very easy to take that type of stance, but is that based on anything that you can actually point to? I'm just not certain. We got to get rid of Donald Trump in order to find out, because of a Tulsi Gabbard, and we have to get either Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie Sanders in the Oval Office, because that's the only way I will know. And I think a lot of progressives and a lot of independents and a lot of people who don't even claim a party or any group, just want truth and just want peace. I think that's the only way we're really going to know what's going on. Because if Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard were to go another way, then I would go, you know what? There's a coercion. Because at the end of the day, man, somebody's got to look at that Ned Flanders dead-eyed motherfucker and say, look, Bolton, you son of a, right? Why is he there? And don't tell me Donald Trump, a lot of people in his cabinet I don't understand. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but why would you run on ending wars? Why would you get the guy, and we got you on tape several times saying Iraq was a horrible mistake, and then you get a guy, now we got a guy, your chief advisor is the guy who architected that whole thing. He quarterbacked that whole invasion. It just doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. So, like I said, it's very easy for people to sit back and say Donald Trump's a liar, Donald Trump planned this all, it was just to get in the office. That makes things real simple and tidy. But I think the reality may be a little bit different. Maybe. All right. Interesting stuff, right? So anyway, be here Monday with Max Wimmerthal will be my guest. The Management of Savagery. He will break down his new book. and we'll be able to answer. Well, hopefully he'll be able to answer a lot of questions that we have. And what I would like to do, and also for my Patreons, all my Black Label Patreons, I'll be putting a post where I'll be asking for questions for Max Blumenthal. So please, as one of the perks that I give my Patreons at a certain level, to be able to offer questions to our special guest. And my apologies for not extending it for Mike Gravel, but Mike Gravel was really was kind of fitting this into a schedule anyway. So we'll have Mike Gravel on another time. And also, all of my Patreons, I'm going to put a clip up about Mike Gravel's show last night. Okay, so guys, I got another clip. Like I've been telling people, look, you know, The View is what it is, right? You know, the show, ABC, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Abby Huntsman, Meghan McCain, Anna Navarro. You know, this show, right? The ladies sit around, they talk about political stuff. They also talk about other stuff too. They talk about who's sleeping with who a little bit and what's going on in Hollywood. And, you know, they talk about other stuff. But it's the political part. The political topics are the reason why we pay attention at all, right? Look, here's a clip from The View where they discuss Elizabeth Warren and her decision not to go on Fox News. I find it very interesting. Okay? Check it out.
A hard pass on an invite from Fox News to appear on the town hall. She rejected the network as a hate-for-profit racket, but fellow Democratic candidate John Delaney said he'd take the airtime if she didn't want it. Now,
is he running?
I don't know who he is.
Who is he? Oh, I don't know. Who is it?
That's what John Delaney. That's
No,
why
he's not
he wants to be on,
Yeah.
so somebody will know. We don't know who you are. He's running. Okay.
Well, you got to do a better job getting that message out there because none of us knew you were running for president, bro, and this is our job. So
if we don't know you, you know they don't know.
Your audience, the audience certainly doesn't know who you are. So you got to get that.
Former representative from Maryland.
Yeah, that's fine, but we didn't know you were running for president, dude.
You know.
Sorry.
Well,
you need to bring your behind here.
Come here.
Who knew?
You want people to know you're out there. See, I digress for one hot second. People come here because they know folks are watching, whether it's on the left or the right or the center. You want to connect to people, you need to come on to our show. Because
I got to pause it there. I want to play the rest of it, but I got to pause it there. And I just got to say, it's not your show, Whoopi. No, it's not your show. You don't own anything. You guys are a bunch of hired hands out here to talk about nothing and be a distraction and give bad information or misinformation most of the time. Albeit for Sunny Hostin. Sunny does a good job most of the time, right? Just when I watch it, okay? I'm sure she says some things, so don't hold me on everything she says. But Meghan McCain doesn't know what she's talking about. She wouldn't be there if it weren't for her dad. Same thing with Abby Huntsman, Whoopi Goldberg. You got no reason talking about any issues. You really don't do any research. Joy Behar and Sunny are the only ones that seem like they actually care about getting things right. But for you to say, you need to come on our show as if this not owned by Walt Disney. And when I looked at who owns or who are the executive producers of the show, we all know Barbara Waters founded it. But there are like 30 executive producers, and none of them are named Whoopi Goldberg or Meghan McCain or any of y'all. All right? So let's stop acting like we're an authority. You know, I do a lot of work to do my show, and it ain't much, but it's my show. I own the show. I control what we cover. If I want to cover that horrible killing in Texas, in Baywood, Texas, Bayton, Texas, I think it was, over near Houston, where a woman, Pamela Turner, was killed by a cop, shot 5 times with no weapon, I could cover it. If I want to come back and then cover Tulsi Gabbard and try to make people understand, oh man, she's not talking about domestic issues, but when she talks about war, she is talking about domestic issues. Because if you end the war, guess where the money can go? Do you realize that over 50% of our budget goes to war? If Tulsi Gabbard is able to influence, becomes president and ends the wars, we can redirect that money where? Social programs, Medicare for all, college tuition, pharmaceuticals, infrastructure improvements, jobs, working on that infrastructure. All that can be done. So I can talk about all these issues. You can only talk about what they tell you to talk about. And then they don't even think you do your own research, because if you did, you wouldn't say asinine things like you say on a constant basis. So miss me with the whole arrogant, oh, well, it's our show, you got to come on The View. Nah, you really, the fact that people need to come on The View, because you do reach a lot of people, but the fact that people need to come on The View is shameful. It's just shameful. People should cry. All of us should cry. We should cry ourselves to sleep tonight. All of us, every voting age person should cry. And maybe we should cry twice for our kids who aren't voting age. The fact that candidates need to come on your show is horrific. It's the stupidification of voting populists on your show every night, every day. All right, now, to Whoopi's credit, she cleans it up a bit, because I guess she realized she sounded arrogant. And then they get into the part where they talk about Elizabeth Warren. So let's go back to it. It's worth it. Check it out.
As our show connects to people. Not that I'm bragging, but we didn't know you do.
Brag away.
But I actually, it may be a minority opinion, but I think that it's being very dismissive of so many Americans for her not to go on Fox News. Fox News was the top basic cable network in April. It finished in 2018 as the most watched basic cable network for the third consecutive year among both primetime and total day viewers. I think there are a lot of real journalists there, like Chris Wallace, like Shep Smith. And I think if you want to be the president of the United States for everyone, then you need to speak to everyone.
I kind of agree with you,
and I don't like what
I
she
agree with
said.
you, because I noticed that Trump never goes on MSNBC or CNN. All he does is give like these spontaneous interviews on his lawn with a helicopter waiting in the back, right?
Yeah.
As if he's ready. Yeah. We're going to
And
do
it feels
great. It's wonderful. It's
dismissive.
beautiful. It's great. We're going to great. And then he gets on the plane.
But it's
gone.
very short-sighted on her part for a few reasons. Number one, if you can even change one mind in a Republican household, that to me would be worth it for Elizabeth
She has
Warren.
changed
And by
minds
the
on
way,
that side.
but not if you're not going on Fox. You've got to go to spaces that are uncomfortable.
Well, she comes
So
first.
just let me
We'll
finish
her,
really
yeah.
quick. And I will say, right now, the far left that are running are looking for people like AOC's endorsement. And she has said she's deciding between Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. I took this as a political move on Elizabeth Warren's part, trying to differentiate herself from Bernie Sanders so she can get those kind of endorsements. I think it's short-sighted. I think it'll work in a primary, but I agree with you. It's the United States of
Well, you
America.
gotta get into
Every
that
woman on
primary.
this show
That's
goes
right.
into spaces we're uncomfortable with, and it's effective.
But you got to get through those primaries, Megan. You
I know,
can't
but
get
but you can't go so far left that you're not for everyone.
But Fox viewers will remember that.
Well, and you know what? If you can't face the Fox audience, you can't face the U.S. It's that simple.
All right, so see, that's why I wanted you to watch it, because I was surprised too. I was surprised that they wow, they must have, where'd they get their talking points? Everybody agrees with Tim Black. I said this yesterday, that it makes no sense for Elizabeth Warren to make this statement unless she's just trying to placate a base that's ignoring her. It is horrific because Elizabeth Warren's putting out legislation that matters, but they ain't paying attention to that. But who wasn't paying attention to it? It wasn't the voters. Media wasn't paying attention to it. So in order for her to get the attention that she needs, she had to get MSNBC and CNN to really pay attention to her. She threw them a bone. Because don't tell me for a second this wasn't a tactical decision on Elizabeth Warren's part. Come on, she knows the minute she goes on Fox News, they're going to bring up the whole Pocahontas or Foxahontas or whatever they call it, Foahontas. They'll bring that all up. It's going to run her right back through a news cycle of defending that. She might get a gotcha moment. Elizabeth Warren is great. She's a great educator, great speaker when she's breaking down complex issues. She's a professor. She's really good at this. She's surgical the way she breaks down a story, breaks down an idea. But is she really great on her feet? Nah, she's not, guys. Not. So I think it was all tactical, guys. I did a video on it. Please check it out on my YouTube channel, where I go into it for about 10, 12 minutes. And I'm surprised the View went this way, frankly. I put out a tweet earlier about MSNBC. Zerlina Maxwell is a contributor to MSNBC. She's also a Brock bot employed by David Brock's organization. She also was a big-time Hillary supporter. And Lord knows, wow, I can't believe it's so shocking. This weekend, Zerlina Maxwell was on the Joy Reid panel or whatever, and they were saying how Bernie Sanders is somehow implying he's racist because he went on Fox News. These are the same people who had no problem with Hillary Clinton publicly stating in 2016 she wanted to pull what? Republican voters. That's been the Democratic recipe for a long time. But now suddenly Bernie Sanders going on Fox News under the realm of Donald Trump for a town hall is sacrilegious. I think it's a bunch of crap, horse puckets, right? Squirrel droppings is what it is, guys. The bottom line is Bernie Sanders did a good job in that town hall. Word on the street is, from a viewer, Amy Klobuchar did well on that in her own Fox News town hall. These people don't want to go in the lion's den. They're afraid they're going to get hurt in the lion's den. And if you're just yourself and you believe what you believe and you go in there and you stick to it, I don't know what there is to be afraid of. As one of my callers said last night, he has a mother and a father that he loves deeply. When he was away at school, they started watching a lot of Fox News. He wished that somebody would appear on Fox News and talk some sense into him. Bernie Sanders did that. Elizabeth Warren could do that, but she doesn't have the guts to do it. She's too busy worried about pleasing the establishment. And that's always been my knock on Elizabeth Warren. And all she did was solidify that thought. But as much as I knocked the View, they got this one right. Half right. That whole, come on, our show stuff, nah. You know, they'll Steve Harvey you if they have to, Whoopi. Steve Harvey lost 2 shows in 24 hours. So it ain't your show unless you own the production, you own the company, the distribution, you don't own anything. You're a talking head on the show, like all of these people that talk high and mighty that are on cable news who own nothing. They poo-hoo us in independent media, but at least we own our own stuff, whether it's Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp, or any of the other great people, right? All right. All right, that's it, guys. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow me at Real Tim Black on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll see you on the next one. And email me at tim@timblack.tv.com. Oh, and don't forget, you can now join the Tim Black Wolfpack right here on Facebook. If you like Facebook until they shut down Facebook or break it up or whatever they're going to do, if you like Facebook, don't worry, you can stay there. Go to my main page on Facebook and hit Become a Supporter. It's only a couple bucks a month. Like, buy me a cup of coffee. That's it. Keep the show on the road. Also, I got a GoFundMe for a new computer system so that we can continue doing the live shows and be able to take phone calls. You know, consistently. Consistently. All right. Last thing, tomorrow, Freedom Friday, you get to call into the show. It's your show. I just answer the phone and keep the show going. You guys get to speak up tomorrow, okay? So be here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's it. I love y'all. I'm gone. Now I'm going to check comments. See if I got any people out there in my comment sections. Anybody in the super chat? Well, I got some super chat people. Buck Bewley says, what'd you say, Buck? Help Tim keep the show growing. Donate to support the truth bombs. When you donate, you feel invested in it. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you, Buck, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, become a part of it. Listen to Buck. Buck won't steer you wrong. Shell Tyler says the poll that matters most for Joe are those MSNBC, CNN pundits making millions who are terrified of Bernie Sanders. You're right, Cheryl. I love you and thank you for donating to the show. I got a new member for the show, Harriet Garner. Welcome to the Wolfpack, Harriet. Don't let nobody take your cornbread, all right? And April Kester. April Kester says Tim Black is a good human being. Bernie is a good human being. I love you all. Oh, man, I love you too, April. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to keep fighting. Like Lee Camp says, keep fighting. Last but not least, Larry Forbes said, break it down, Tim. Not happy with Venezuela embassy. Yes, Venezuela. Man, this is, you know, what we're doing in Venezuela is a travesty. The United States is trying to topple a regime in Venezuela. The people of Venezuela should decide the fate of Venezuelans, not U.S. influence. So, I know I don't speak often about, I speak from time to time on, national issues, but this is like something that's true to my heart. I met a young man from Venezuela last summer. We talked about this in depth on my show. And what America has done in Venezuela, in fact, most of Latin America is just horrific stuff, guys. Become educated in it. Tulsi Gabbard has a very strong stance on it, as does a lot of other progressives and a lot of politicians. I think that more politicians on the left who believe in ending regime change wars like Tulsi does, they need to speak up more boldly on it. So we have to push them. We have to push them to be more boldly about this, okay? I agree with you. Venezuela, hands off Venezuela. I support it. What else? Oh, let me holler at the Facebook people. Gosh, guys, so many announcements. I'm sorry. Chelsea Manning today. Chelsea Manning. All right? All right, so, we fight these fights, okay? We fight these fights. We care about these issues. Chelsea Manning went to jail today. Okay, she's been rearrested because she would not testify against WikiLeaks. People say to me all the time, they say, Tim Black, well, what is it about Mayor Pete you don't like? Pete Buttigieg. It's, other than none of his policies seem to be all that progressive and all that interesting, they won't change life for the people that I care most about. Besides that fact, which I think is huge, forget he's a nice guy, forget he likes guys, forget who he's married to. I don't care about that. Forget his dog. I don't care about your dog. I don't care what languages you speak. I don't speak them. So we're not going to have a conversation in those languages. And I'm never going to meet you. But the fact that Pete Buttigieg said Obama pardoning Chelsea Manning was a mistake, screw him. Screw him. Chelsea Manning is a hero, and she proved it once again. She put it all on the line again for what she believes in. Pete, what have you put on the line, sir? And don't talk about you serving in some type of administrative capacity in Afghanistan. No. What have you really put on the line, sir? Horrible. Callous. It's horrific. So anyway, our thoughts are with Chelsea Manning. And she talks the talk, walks the talk tonight, right now. Okay? So, that's it, guys. Shout out to Chelsea100. Thank you, Chelsea, for the super chat. Here's a couple of bucks. Thank you on account of Buck. See, Buck, you're contagious, Buck. Thank you, my friend. And Jay Bird, thank you, Jay Bird, for contributing as well. I appreciate you both. Facebook people, Truth Bomb people, if you're on Facebook, guys, join the Tim Black Wolfpack on Facebook. Do that. All right, I'm out of here, guys. It's like we every once in a while, I say, well, I really believe in what I do. I feel so strongly about it. I'm so committed, right? And you say, am I doing the right thing, And then, I think about my friends who just go to their jobs and they just go home, And I think about how I work 15, 16, 17, 18, sometimes 20-hour days, right? And then I get somebody like Chelsea Manning who's going to jail for the second time for what she believes in. And then I realized, Tim, don't get so high on yourself, bro. I mean, you're doing something, don't get me wrong, but what you're doing is cool, man. It's cute. You cute, but you ain't. Some people putting it all out there, brother. Those who live for something bigger than themselves are truly living. I'm Tim Black. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.